Alright, it's been over a year since I did the Disney college program, and I still get so many questions about my experience that I thought, you know what, let's jump back in time, reflect on some memories, and share my Disney story from the beginning. For those who don't know me, hello, my name is Haley. I did the Disney college program Fall Advantage from June 20th, 2022 through January 5th of 2023. Before we jump into the story time, of course, I have to preface, I do not speak for the brand or the company. I've grown up loving Disney. I had always wanted to be a Disney cast member, and fulfilling that dream has meant the world to me, and returning to the Walt Disney Company is something I definitely hope to do in the future, more on the design side of things, but I love being in the parks and talking to guests. It's something I cherish so much, and as a designer it taught me a lot about how these parks work and operate from the cast member perspective, and that's something you just can't teach in the classroom. So this new knowledge, the growth I've had as a person, is something that I will be forever grateful to the Walt Disney Company for. With that, again, I do not speak for the brand or the company, and this is just my personal Disney college program experience. If you're starting the DCP soon, congratulations. I'm sure you've been watching many of these videos as I did too. Some people have had some bad experiences, some people have had some great ones. I feel like I fall pretty much in the middle. I struggle a lot with anxiety. I've talked about that in my other DCP recap video. So hopefully this will give you a genuine and honest, at least my experience of the DCP. I will have it linked down below, all of my Disney college program vlogs. If you haven't watched them, that will give you a true glimpse of the day in the life, tours of Flamingo Crossings, all of that stuff. I try to be honest and true on this channel, and in those videos there were some emotions and stuff that happened, so hopefully that will give you a good little glimpse. Also, another thing to note, that the DCP changes constantly. It changes every week, every month, every year. Clips, videos, pictures I see of the DCP right now, some of the things look way different from whenever I was there, so just know some of the stories I may be sharing, some of the clips in the vlogs might be different from how it actually is now. I discovered the Disney college program through YouTube many years ago, and watching all those videos and then actually experience the program felt like two completely different things. But we'll jump back into that in a second. I will also have linked down below this video that I filmed like a week or two after I did the DCP. I shared the list of all the classes I attended, all the behind the scenes tours that I did, and shared some anxiety moments as well, and just the growth that I had already felt after just completing the program. So we're going to reflect a little bit on that today as well, but if you want to see a nice little comparison, that'd be the video for you. I think we got all of that out of the way. We're going to jump back into the camera roll now and start my Disney journey from the beginning. As I've already prefaced, I've always wanted to be a Disney cast member. Making magic is something I'd always dreamed of doing. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so I've never lived in Florida, never lived close to the parks. So this was quite the journey, quite the excitement to be fulfilling my dream of not only becoming a cast member, but also living in Florida and being so close to the parks. So looking back at these pictures and just seeing my excitement of like it was all kind of setting in that like, oh, I am moving here, like I am gonna do this, was very magical. I guess some things just to kind of get out of the way, or I guess kind of the start of it all. I got accepted into the DCP on Valentine's Day of 2022. Again, I moved in June 20th. I did go down the day before. Of course, it's just to situate. There's a bunch of hotels around the Flamingo Crossings area that are great to stay at when you're moving in. I was personally placed at Flamingo Crossings Village East, which is what I would consider to be like the main campus, because that's the one that has all the classrooms and stuff attached to it, which I was very excited about. I was in a 2x2 room, which means I lived, like there was someone in my room, like there were two of us per room, 2 bathrooms, and then there was another, each room, start over, each room has 4 people in it, and the 2x2 means that there's 2 people per bedroom. So sorry. 2 people per bedroom, 2 bathrooms, and a shared living space. So that wasn't my preference. I put down to have my own room, but I honestly wasn't too upset about it, because at the end of the day, you're at work and at the park so much anyway that you're never actually in your room. So great roommates, it was a fun time. I kind of barely saw them just because our schedules were different, so I never really got super close to my roommates like how some other people did, but the times I did see them, we got along It was nice, it was great, but it was just a little unfortunate that we wouldn't always see each other. Something else to note, if I could share from one of my friends' experiences, when she moved in, there were already people living in her room, so there's a chance you could be moving into someone's room who may have finished their program early, termed, whatever, that just know that if you're doing the DCP soon, you might be moving into a room where there's already people in it. So just note that. Just note that. I was placed at Disney's Animal Kingdom in ODV, which is outdoor vending, and the day before I moved in, I found out that I was going to be like kind of what land I was going to be in, which was the area by Everest. I was going to be all of those snack food carts there, and I didn't really care what my role was. I was happy to do anything at these parks to do the magic in any way possible. I was a little bit disappointed food and beverage, and I had put somewhere that I have food allergies. I did the DCP like right after COVID ended, so I actually never did a phone interview, so I never got to actually tell someone, but I know I noted it somewhere in my application, so I was more nervous being in food and beverage knowing that I have food allergies of like what was gonna happen there. So that was more so where the nerves were in terms of my role, but I was very happy to be at DAC and give it some love for sure. I was scrolling through some more pictures here. Oh, here's move-in. Getting my room all set up I was so excited for. I was in the Bagheera building. I can still imagine the exact room. I was on the second floor. I did tours of it. You can find those videos on the channel. There's my final room all set up. I miss it. I do. Flamingo Crossings, I really enjoyed. I personally always felt safe there. I had my car there, which I'm so glad, so grateful that I did. If you're looking to do the different behind the scenes tours, especially, that helps. And then just going to work, it was just easier that I could just get my car and go directly where I needed to go and not be on all the bus stops. If you have to, you know, it works, it's fine. But personally, having a car is something that I tell people doing the DCP. I'm like, if you can bring a car, I would highly recommend you do so, because I feel like I did so much more in my program than I would have had I not had a car. I don't know if I phrased that right, but you know what I'm saying. Also, I did a whole Flamingo Crossings video, so I might be repeating some of this stuff. I never had an issue at Flamingo. The pools were nice, the gym was nice. I wish I could have utilized them more, but again, I was working at the park so much that I probably didn't get to enjoy Flamingo as much as I had hoped to. However, I did every class tour that was offered. I know I've already discussed, so I won't dive too much into that, but I did 92 hours of learning time. The tours are something that I will never ever forget, especially as someone who hopes to be an Imagineer. Like that, getting that info, seeing behind the scenes, just loving Disney as is was so incredible. So that's something you're interested in, would definitely recommend doing those. And the people that work at Flamingo are super nice. Whether you needed to rent out some little activities and stuff, or you were talking to people at the programs desk, everyone was super nice and helpful. The place was always clean, very well kept. They were always maintaining the facilities, cleaning them, whatever. The only, I guess, issue we had at one point was cockroaches are a common thing. I found a cockroach. That was a personal first experience for me. It was quite the time. It was quite the experience. But after I captured it, released it, whatever, I went and bought like bug spray and little traps, and I never saw them again. And I also put in a maintenance request for like the facilities for Flamingo Crossings to come and spray our room for like bugs, and they were super nice and came and did it real quick, and it was perfectly fine. I know some people may have had different experiences with like the maintenance team maybe not coming or whatever, but that's kind of, I guess, case by case thing. I personally never had an issue and it worked well for me, so that's kind of touching on Flamingo a little bit in terms of my room and such. Let's see. Yeah, beautiful. Just pool area was great. Look at that. Makes me so sad. I'd love to just go back and relive some of it. oh, this is the welcome event. Mine was like 0 to hero or something. It's just so wild looking at these pictures, again, knowing all that happened during my program, that I'm just like, wow, I knew nothing at this moment. Jumping into this kind of just welcome week. I remember welcome week being jam-packed. I thought it was just gonna be like, oh, we're just hanging out. You don't have your park passes yet, or at least I, like, at the time I was there, I didn't have them yet. So it was just kind of enjoying Flamingo, adjusting, settling, meeting the roommates. And it was nice to have that little downtime beforehand and just get situated before you really dive into work. Traditions was a 2-day thing. If you don't know what Traditions is, that's whenever you like become a cast member. That's like the training, you get your name tag, like deep diving into the stuff. I was very, very excited for Traditions. This was like the moment, so I wore this little suit outfit I was very, very excited about. Of course, I got my name tag, and immediately when I stepped outside, that's whenever all the emotions hit me and I started crying. I was so incredibly happy to be wearing this. And then, I won't show the pictures of it, but I went over to my hotel. My parents were still there just to make sure I was all settled in. And I remember walking through the hotel lobby, seeing them, and I was just crying. I was so proud, so happy, so excited to show that to them and just kind of feel like I did it, and it was great. I did not go take pictures at Disney University. Hot take. I know most people do that. Basically, everyone does that. After Traditions, outside of Disney University, it's absolutely crazy because everyone just goes there. I wanted to take my picture in front of the casting door, which is near Disney Springs, or not door, the casting location building, because at Disney University, I guess the Disney College program, that's where like stuff used to be. That's where I think Traditions is for like not DCP cast members. So Disney University meant nothing anymore. Again, it used to be like that's where all of the stuff was, but then since Flamingo opened, they just do it all at Flamingo Crossings. So I wanted to be different, and I went to the casting location to take my photos instead because I knew it was gonna be crazy, and it was raining. But that, you know, nothing could stop the smile on my face that day, so it was all fine and well. Second day of Traditions, I just wore like just a plain black dress. Like, it's business attire for Traditions. I didn't take any pictures because I actually felt sick the next day. I generally do not remember my second day of Traditions, which is kind of sad. Because the first day you get your name tag and stuff, the second day is more like getting into it. And I was so tired from the day before, so drained, because like all of that emotion, all that excitement was just like, oh my gosh. That after Traditions, I literally went back to my room and just like slept. Like, that's probably like the worst I ever felt on my program, was just being sick. That kind of Rita's work was gonna start, so that was really great. Jumping into this photo, this was my first day, question mark, my first training day, I think. I actually don't remember what this I was going to work here. This was my first day. I don't remember what the context was. My first day I was wearing business attire because I didn't have my costume yet. I brought a bigger backpack because during training you go and get your costumes, which I didn't know. I actually went and got my costumes early just in case, but I brought them with me because I didn't know what we were doing the first day. So I have a bigger backpack regardless, water bottle, all that good stuff. So excited. I also took pictures in my costume, of course. How could you not? This was my DAC outfit that I got to wear for a very, very short time. We'll get to that in a second. This next, never before seen pictures right here. This was me after my shift. There's context. I went into training, did all the computer training, just training. I was about to go on stage when my trainer asked me if I had any food allergies, which again, I had prefaced somewhere, like I told someone when I got there, something happened, my trainer was not informed of it. So before I even got to go on stage my first day, they found out I had food allergies, and I went and talked to some people, and they told me that they were going to change my role, but for the time being, just to come back tomorrow, they'll place me somewhere temporarily until my role was changed. Those were their exact words. So they sent me home early on my first day, which was absolutely devastating because again, I dreamed of that for so long, and then to get sent home early was like, it hurt. It was really unfortunate. So anyway, this is me in the parking lot. I called my mom and I was crying. It was basically the most real thing I could tell you. I'll never forget this. This was really traumatizing for me, but I mean, that was, you know, that it is what it is, and you know, obviously that was the first day was a turning point in my experience. So the following day I get up, I'm excited again to go to work because I didn't get to go on stage yet. I didn't get to really do anything yet. So this is me once again in the costume for the final time. This was the last time I got to wear this. So I go into work the next day and they kind of forgot to do anything for me. So they just called around to see who could kind of take me temporarily, again, temporarily. And the only place that picked up was Restaurantosaurus in Dinoland, USA. Dinoland, USA forever has a place in my heart. But anyway, Dinoland, USA is actually where I met my best friend, Taylor, who I enjoyed the rest of my program with. So had Restaurantosaurus not picked up the phone that day, I would have never have met my best friend in my program. Yes, there's me at DAC on 4th of July. So now we're into July. All right. I maxed out for the first time on Buzz. That was very exciting. Picture in front of the casting door, which I'd never taken before. Just kind of dazed at Epcot. I really just did the parks by myself at the beginning there. And then there's the first time Taylor and I hung out. Oh my gosh, the memories are so wild. Then I earned my ears. I took pictures with Mickey and Minnie with my name tag. And I noticed a lot of people do this since I posted this picture, so I'm not gonna say I started it, but maybe I did, I don't know. Let's see what else there is to note here. Volunteer events. So this whole span of time, kind of up until my birthday, I know one of the questions that I got was what's something that surprised me the most about the DCP, and I talked about like watching all the YouTube videos I did, like just the program wasn't what I thought. I feel like social media definitely twists the program into being this like super magical, amazing thing 24/7, and it wasn't. And that's no one's fault. Like that's no one, like, you know, that's not Disney's fault either. It's just social media makes it seem that way, you know, changes a lot of perspectives on stuff, and that's just not how it was. I would say I was honestly kind of depressed at this point, or like the anxiety was really hitting because I was excited that I fulfilled my dream. I was excited to be living near the parks. I was excited to be living in Florida. I finally found like a friend after like a month, and I still felt alone though. Like it was so exciting, and I dreamed of that for so long, but then for it to also not fully be what I thought it was, and to be alone in kind of like this celebratory time I was sad. Straight up, I was sad. I'd cry on the way home from work sometimes, not because anything bad happened, but just like that's just how I felt. I remember crying on Main Street on my birthday just because I celebrated my birthday alone because Taylor was working, which was really unfortunate. So it opened a lot of different perspectives. Again, I've learned a lot about me and as a person and all of those things, and just being grateful whenever I am around people and friends, because like that was pretty sad to be in such a special place but then feel so lonely, and then looking around and seeing everyone else with their friends and family, and then you're just staying there alone was a lot. So the whole beginning of my program, I would generally say I was just anxiety, a little bit like just depressed, I guess is the best way to put it, because it was just processing all of this information, adjusting the new schedule, the change of it all, the stress and anxiety of it all, and just learning to like how to overcome it and find my way through it. Then August rolls around. There were some hurricanes, some nice little hurricane videos. There were 2 different hurricanes while I was there. One of them, little story time, was kind of, I don't want to say cool, but it was different than anything else I've ever experienced. One of the hurricanes, the park's closed for a few days, and I actually worked the last shift before they closed for a few days, so we had to kind of like usher all the guests out of the park because it was closing early because of the hurricane coming. So it was just a very, very interesting experience to see like how those situations are handled as a cast member. So that was pretty neat. Obviously not in a good reason, that like bad the hurricane was coming and such, but in terms of a learning perspective, it was very interesting to see how that works. So then like August, September rolls around, and it was to the point where I was having like some reactions, little health concerns and stuff, still at Restaurantosaurus. I still had heard nothing about my role change that I was told on the first day was going to happen. So it came to the point where I approached my leaders again, higher ups that I needed to reach out to make this change happen, because it came to the point where it wasn't safe for me, for my health, to still be in a food and beverage location. You usually cannot switch your role in Disney College program. You get what you get, and that's what you have the whole time. But for health and safety reasons, obviously, if things need to be changed, things need to be changed. So fun little story time again. I remember receiving a phone call after, you know, that was brought to their attention, and getting told that my role was gonna change like 2-3 days later. And I was told that I was gonna be moving over to Magic Kingdom Fantasyland West, which is like Peter Pan, Small World, those. And I was like, oh, cool, attractions. As someone who helps me in Imagineering, like that was very cool. It's like, oh, let's learn how the attractions work. Like, great. I was sitting in the McDonald's parking lot outside of Disney's Animal Kingdom when I got this phone call, and like 2 minutes go by, the phone rings again. I answer, they tell me, I'm so sorry, our paperwork got misplaced. You're actually, and then I paused because in my head I'm thinking, okay, they could literally tell me any other role at this point, that like I was just told something else, but it was a mistake. It was okay. They proceed to go on and say, you're still going to Magic Kingdom, but you're going to Main Street. My initial thought was, oh, Emporium? Like, what? Like, I didn't really think of, because I knew it wouldn't have been any of the food and beverage locations, so I just assumed Emporium. And then they said operations, and then that was kind of the, like, then it was just like, we'll send you more information, that's it. So I was like, okay. Going from Animal Kingdom to the Magic Kingdom, from Dinoland USA to Main Street USA. You can't make that stuff up. I was like, this is wild. And Main Street is my personal favorite to Disney land. Very symbolic, very magical. I was beyond excited. I was very, very sad to leave Taylor, very, very sad to leave Dak and my friends there, but I was excited for this new role. It's like finally something like can kind of be confident in and know that my health was going to be okay. So I didn't really know what fully ops entailed until I started getting into it. So Main Street operations is crowd control, guest flow, as they now call it, for the parades and fireworks shows, and also the Town Square Theater, where you kind of operate the line of the Mickey Mouse meet and greet. So by the end of my program, I technically got to do food and beverage, attractions, and then this guest flow operations. So I got to learn a lot, which was, again, very, very beneficial to me as a designer and someone who's interested in that stuff. So I finished out the rest of my program at Magic Kingdom doing Main Street ops, and I have to say, again, the beginning of that whole change was a lot, was overwhelming. Tears were shed on stage, backstage, on the way to and from work. Again, nothing involving anyone, Disney, anything like that. It was just me personally, mental health wise. That's just honestly my experience, and I know a lot of people have also had that experience too, so that's just me. Don't panic, just me. Just trying to process all this information. And the other big growing part at that role in particular that, again, forever grateful for, was public speaking. Public speaking is something I was never confident in, always terrified of. In high school, could never do. I would literally just get up there and just start crying. I'd forget to breathe and that'd be the end of it. So never did I think I would ever be confident in public speaking. So my first kind of 2 weeks at Main Street were very, very difficult because that's a big part of the role, is to be able to do that. And I wanted to prove to myself I could do it, but it was hard to start to get over that fear. And I was very lucky that the people on Main Street supported me in that, recognized my fear with it, and I was very open and honest of like, I'm uncomfortable doing this, and we found, you know, ways that I could grow in the role. And by the end of my program, I was speaking in the little microphones on Main Street, telling people where to go. I was so proud and so excited of it. It's really unfortunate that at the end of my program was when I was finally like happy, confident, excited, had more friends and stuff towards the end, and that's when I left. So that was probably one of the hardest parts, was leaving right when it finally got good, all around, if that makes sense. So that was pretty, that's something that's still sad. I'm like, oh, I left right as it all came together. But I think that's the way that my story was supposed to be. I was also kind of towards the end put a lot in the Town Square Theater. I love the people I work with. We had a little family there. I loved working at Magic Kingdom. I loved talking to guests, telling them where to go, where stuff was, how to have the most magical experience ever, taking pictures for people, giving them little tips and tricks. It was so fulfilling in so many ways, and I'm so lucky that that's where I got placed, and I had that freedom, that push to grow into who I am and to get to experience Magic Kingdom, that entrance, the entertainment, the characters, all of that stuff was like so cool. And it's something I think about still to this day. I know I've received many questions on if I would do a Disney college program again. Yes and no. Unfortunately, like, my college schedule doesn't really match up with the DCP. I didn't do any classes while I was there, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't take any college classes while I was there, because I was able to make the most of my time. And I could not imagine balancing like college classes with the work schedule and hours that I had. Whenever I was in food and beverage, I was doing like 40+ hours a week, and then whenever I was at Main Street, I was doing like 36, 34, 32 range. And I still could not imagine doing classes, working till 1 a.m, doing all of that, doing the parties. I loved these costumes. I got to wear quite a few costumes while I was at Magic Kingdom, the theater outfit, the parades, like fireworks outfit, and then the party outfits too. Working the parties was so much fun. I looked forward to those nights a lot. If I could pick up one of those shifts right now, man, I would. It was great. It was really great. I did try to extend my college program. I applied for the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, and I also applied for VIP tours. Unfortunately, they were looking for people that were further along in their college years. I did it as I finished my freshman year and I went, so I was very young there compared to everyone else, which was kind of interesting and something I just had never considered. But I was ready and eager for the opportunity, so I was going to take it as soon as I got it, which is exactly, again, what I did. But it was weird being the younger person there. I talked about this in the other video too. The other thing that really stood out to me and that was a little bit disappointing was kind of all the partying and stuff that would happen, like before and after work. People would just go out and party, and I was just like, I'm going to class in the morning. Like, I never went to any of the different locations all these people go to. That's not how I wanted my program to be. I was training very professionally, and I was making the most of it, and I was doing everything related to the college program, because, you know, that was probably my one and only chance to do it as of this moment, and I wanted to treat it as such. So would I do the DCP again? Yes and no. You know, if it works out here in the future, sure, but I'm also seeking more like creative opportunities at this point. But if I ever did get another like small little chance like that to work in the parks again, it'd be very, very cool and something I would definitely do. But man, I miss being in Florida, being near the parks, making the magic, the memories for people was so great. That's truly, I get tears in my eyes right now. It's truly the most fulfilling thing to me. And to share one final story with you, I apologize, this should just be a long story time video, but I haven't really been posting too much here because I've truly been anxiety, stressed with school right now. I'm almost in my senior year, which is terrifying, and I'm focusing a lot on that. So there's just a lot of health, life stuff I'm doing at this point that, you know, YouTube need to be set aside. But regardless, one final story I want to share with you was my final shift. I got a lot of questions asking what was like my favorite magic moment, magic memory. A lot of them I already shared here, but one that always stands out to me was my last shift. And oh my gosh, I have these pictures everywhere from my last shift, and I get tears in my eyes every time I think about this. So my last shift as a cast member, I was working the Town Square Theater, which is where the Mickey Mouse meet and greet is. And we had just wrapped up for the night, and I think Mickey was finishing meeting with some guests, and my coordinator came over to me and said, hey, I know it's your last shift. I know how much all this meant to you. Would you like to say goodbye to Mickey before, you know, it was time for me to clock out? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, please, that would be amazing. Yes. So we're going back to see him. She looks at me, she's like, you're gonna cry. I was like, I think I'll be fine. I'll be fine. The door opens, Mickey's standing there, and I just started crying. And Mickey gave me the longest hug, kept hugging me. He was in his 50th outfit too, which meant a lot. And I was just crying, because in that moment, as soon as I like hugged him, say goodbye, everything came full circle. All the ups and downs were worth it. All the memories came flooding back. See, I'm gonna get emotional when I think about it. In that moment, I was like, I did it. I became a cast member. I stayed the whole time. I made it through. I grew so much. I learned so much. Like, everything just hit in that moment of like, this is what I hope to do. Like, this is it. Like, this is it right here. I'm gonna cry, and I'm trying not to. So I said goodbye to Mickey. I'm so grateful to have the pictures of it, because truly every time I tell this story, I start crying. Okay. Once that was over, I think I still had 15. I still remember this so clearly. I had like 15 minutes left in my shift, and when we're done, we go stand out on Main Street, and I staring at the clock on City Hall, watching kind of the time tick away, of like just truly soaking in the last moments of being a cast member, like at that time, like at that journey in my life. I hope my Disney career is far from over, but in terms of being a DCP cast member and kind of my first Disney experience, being able to soak those moments in meant so much. Like, looking down Main Street, every time I'd clock out, when I'd walk past the castle, I just take like just a big sigh, just soak it in, and just be so grateful for all of it. So I'm so glad that, you know, it's kind of crazy to say that my favorite memory was my last day, but that's truly when it finally hit me that I did it, and that I was there, and that it was all that, you know, I worked for, was for these memories and for these lessons and for this journey. You know, despite it being ups and downs and not exactly fully what I thought it was going to be, still made the most of it, and still dream of going back to the company one day, because it just fulfilled me so much. So that's my Disney college program journey in the quickest glimpse. Another fun fact is I stayed at almost every Disney resort. Personally, you know, even through childhood and stuff, now in total, I'm only missing, I think, 2 or 3 resorts. So I look forward to finally completing the rest of my Disney like resort checklist, I guess is what you call it. Very, very close, but that was another super fun thing, was all the staycations that we did, all the classes, all the tours. I got to watch the filming of the holiday special. It was so amazing. I'm gonna pull up the questions here. A lot of you want to hear guest interactions, and honestly, one thing I regret is not writing stuff down. I kept a journal there, but whenever I'd get back at night, I was so tired that like to even like write anything down, I was just like, nah, nope. No, I had to eat dinner and go to bed because I'd do it all again the next day. So there's a lot of those little moments I wish I would have written down. I wrote down some of them, but you know, those are like my little memories. I don't need to go into all of those details about the role in those interactions and such. Pros and cons, I feel like I generally went through. What months do I recommend doing the program? This is a great question. Honestly though, it's whenever it works best for you. It's meant to happen when it's meant to happen. Personally though, if I had to give any little, I guess, bias at this point, is working there for the holiday season was so cool because I got to see Disney in every form. Like, I got to see it for the normal summertime crowds. I got to see it for Halloween, for the holidays, for Christmas. So it was very, very cool to see it change throughout, and then obviously have the opportunity to wear the different costumes for the holidays. So that was something, you know, maybe just to consider moving forward. Another great question, do you wish you would have worked less nights to do some of the DCP activities? This is something that's super interesting and something I've talked about with a few different people that were in different roles. Now, I was super lucky at the end of my program that I ended up in the role that I was in, because for that, I really worked nights. Majority of Disney College Program participants work at night. Like, we don't get preference to work in the morning like other cast members do. You work the nights most of the time. So the stuff that DCP hosts in terms of classes and such are all like midday or early morning is the best way to put it. However, whenever I was at Disney's Animal Kingdom doing food and beverage, sometimes I'd start at like 10. So the classes that were at like 11, 12, I couldn't do them. So I was definitely able to do more in the other role that I was in versus the first role I was in, just based on the hours and stuff that I got. So it's just really unfortunate that not everyone will have the opportunity to do the different classes or courses and stuff just because of the role that they're in. I think some leaders in different areas were flexible with it, so if that's something that you're running into a problem with, I would just bring it up to your leaders or ask at the programs desk, like if there's any way to accommodate doing some of the courses and classes and stuff with them based on your role, or if you can give your shift away or something. But actually it worked out that I was working later nights because then I could do stuff earlier in the morning, and I got to do all that I did because I worked at night. What's a ride you must ride when you're there? Well, in terms of my Disney College Program, Cosmic Rewind was probably ridden the most. That's something also cool that happened on my DCP, is I got all 6 songs on Cosmic Rewind in a row, no duplicates. So that was a pretty cool Disney flex that I had. But it was also, now that I think about it, super funny too. There were some rides the whole time I was there that I just never rode. Like, I never rode Peter Pan the whole time I was there. I've ridden it before, you know, I've ridden all the rides before, but like I didn't ride Mission Space while I was there. I didn't. There's a good handful of rides that I just never rode the whole time I was there, which is kind of funny. Any advice for people starting their program soon? Well, first of all, again, congratulations. I hope these videos are all helpful to you. Again, if you have any more specific questions, feel free to reach out and I can like answer those directly. But based on everything else I've said, hopefully you consider all the other things I've said throughout this video. The things like the car, you know, buying maybe some bug traps before you even get there, just having that kind of stuff noted. Note the hours you're gonna be working. You're there to work, you know, like that. Just know all of that before you go, please. But advice I've told every single person I've talked to about the college program is know what you want out of the program before you even get there. I knew going into the program that I wanted to treat this as my one and only opportunity. I wanted to learn about the Walt Disney Company, and I wanted to take all the classes. I wanted to learn. Basically, summing it up, I wanted to learn about the roles, the people who make the magic, the company. I just wanted to soak it all in. I just wanted to learn, period. And that's exactly what I did. So knowing ahead of time while you're there what you wanted the program and so on, that will kind of help you fill in your bucket list of everything you want to do. And I know many people also make a bucket list of things they hope to do. Start on that as soon as possible, because time will start flying crazy fast, and you know, maybe you won't get to some of those bucket list items. So I would highly recommend either make a bucket list or write down why you're doing the program, what you want out of the program, and just keep that in your mind your whole program, so you truly make the most of your program, because again, it goes by very fast. That reminds me of a slight con to the program, or at least something that I was a little bit disappointed about, was I feel like I didn't really get as many connections working there as I thought I would have, in terms of like the people who work at the Disney programs and stuff. Like, I feel like I didn't really get many connections like I thought I would. I didn't realize, or I didn't know that, like, until I got to my program, that there's like 10,000 people doing the DCP at once. Like, there's 5,000 people at East, 5,000 people at West campuses, that it's like, oh, there's a lot of people doing it. Like, there's a lot going on. I know some people, whatever role that they had, their leaders were more open to talking with them about like their hopes, dreams, aspirations and stuff, and kind of help give them connections and, like, you know, give them some guidance to it. I personally didn't have that experience, which I wish that's one little thing I would have gotten, but I got so much else out of it that, you know, I didn't really even consider much of the networking at the time that maybe I could have done now knowing. But that's that aside. Again, if that's something you want in the program, just kind of consider that first. Oh boy, this is quite the question. What was it like readjusting to real life multiple months after DCP? I want to say that's something we're still dealing with. Disney depression is real. I did go to Disney over spring break, and coming back, I was just so sad. Like, honestly, some days it just hits you of like, man, I wish I was still there, especially as someone who, again, hopes to work for the company again, hopes to live in Florida again, and like, you know, make the magic and stuff. It just hurts so much, because I'm like, that's something I did. Like, I just want to go back to that, and you know, that feeling of working for the company and stuff. So for me personally, it's been really hard, because I'm kind of just jealous of my past self at this point. But I'm so grateful and glad that I came right back to school. I went right from the DCP back to school to continue pursuing my dreams, and I told myself the sooner I leave, the sooner I can go back. And I would say that remains true for sure. So as hard as it is sitting here right now and not still being there, you know, at the end of the day, I am glad that I will walk out of here with my degree in hand and hopefully back to Orlando. So wrapping up, finally, am I still creating art and stuff? Yes, that's kind of the dream, the goal. Next, I did apply to some professional internships for this year. Haven't had much luck personally, but I know it just wasn't meant to be just yet. You know, things will happen when they're meant to, and it wasn't meant for me just yet, but fingers crossed for the future that I will get into this creative industry of theme parks, and they mean so much to me. They've been a form of escapism for me and my anxiety, and they're the place where I feel truly accepted and happy. So anything I can contribute to these magical, amazing, immersive places will fulfill me, no matter what the company. But personally, the Walt Disney Company just has fulfilled that for me since the beginning. So hopefully the magic continues. But you know, I can't believe how long ago my program was already. It hurts a lot. Again, it's something I think about every single day. It's the wallpapers on my phone. I have my cast member name tag propped up, framed. Like, just I look forward to the day where I can put the name tag on again, because that's everything. That is everything. So my Disney College program experience, my story, had some ups and downs along the way, but I do have some very magical, cherished memories, some wonderful learning experiences. I will never look at the parks the same again. As a designer, as a guest, whatever, you know, I've soaked in so much, and there's so much more I need and hope to learn as well. So if you have any questions regarding the Disney College program, I can do my best to answer them. Again, I do not speak for the brand of the company. Know that these things change all the time. Your program can be completely different than mine, and that's okay. That's just Disney story and so on. So reach out if you'd like. and look forward to some more, hopefully, videos coming up. I hope to jump back into YouTube once I'm in a place to do so, but right now we're just focusing on the next goal and dream, which is also approaching quite quickly. So thank you so much for watching this longer video, but I was excited to do a little story time, kind of share with you like just the time that I had. So I'll need to go back and actually watch some of my vlogs as well, because I'd be curious to see. Let me know if I should react to one of my other vlogs. It'd be kind of funny. Maybe I can give some more context to stuff. I don't know. It's time to wrap it up. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, remember to do what you love and do what makes you happy, and I will see you all next time. Bye.